Hi everyone. So I'm here to tell you what tricks you should follow to successfully grow a Vandacostylis gigantea. Vandacostylis being the genus and gigantea being the species. This comes in various varieties from white to spotted and all grown in nurseries or naturally in Southeast Asia, which are exported to the Americas and the Europe. Unless you guys grow them in Florida, you will have to mimic the tropical conditions it needs to grow. First of all, when you get a Vandacostylis gigantea, which is lab grown or nursery grown, please do not fertilize it as soon as you open the box. Leave it be for 2 to 3 days to acclimate to your surroundings, and further acclimation is needed. My process of acclimation with less to no transplant shock would be to spray a high phosphorus fertilizer. Phosphorus enables quick acclimation. The same is achieved by spraying a vitamin B complex onto your orchid. What I normally do is, if I spray it today, in another 3 days I will spray the same high phosphorus fertilizer. Like that, I will spray it for 3 times, then I would go back to my regular fertilizer. You can also spray a high phosphorus fertilizer and a high nitrogen fertilizer simultaneously too. Here, what I'm focusing on, acclimating the orchid to my surroundings and not stress it further and make it bloom. That will be a severe shock because your plant has already flown from one continent to the other, and you will never know how long the seller took in acclimating the plant before selling it to you. If the seller has acclimated it, still you giving it time would be totally okay, because if the seller has sprayed some sort of fertilizer or a vitamin on it to get it to calm down and get rid of the tiredness it has, plant has the necessary energy it needs already, so you can give it another 2 more days. That is a very important factor, because you again are getting it acclimated to your own growth space. From one house to the other, the growth spaces are different. So here, give it 2 to 3 days. I recommend 3 days. Thereafter, you can spray a high nitrogen fertilizer, a high phosphorus fertilizer, which will totally enable your Vandacostylis to relax in your surroundings. If you still see a yellowing leaf, do not worry, because the plant is surely throwing off a spike, or in my case, twin spikes. Even though you are owning now a matured or a blooming size plant, if you still do not want it to bloom, you can take off the spikes and get it to focus on vegetative growth. In my case, I did not take off the spikes, so it is blooming and I am welcoming the blooms, but I'm seeing a yellowing leaf. Even if you give the Vandacostylis equal amounts of water, fertilizer, filtered sunlight and air movement, when your Vandacostylis decides to bloom, there might be yellowing leaves as you see now. It's not something which you should panic or take drastic measures about. Yellowing leaves are a natural process of the plant maturing itself. Since I'm letting my plant bloom, I have to make sure now that I give it a lot of fertilizer, because blooming double spikes need a lot of energy, which will be consumed from the bottom structures, which are the leaves in this situation, if I do not spray a lot of fertilizer and stop it from yellowing the bottom leaves. there are two different colors in this same basket, and the one you're seeing now is the yellow variety, which came with very less leaves, took off another leaf and took that leaf off because it wanted to throw off a new root. So when this Vandacostylis gigantea variety acclimates, it can take off bottom leaves and throw out new spikes, or take off bottom leaves and throw out new roots too. The thing which most of you know is these meaty roots are where all its energy is stored. As long as you safeguard the roots with a lot of air movement and with very low to none attacks from slugs or snails, these root tips will keep on growing and will keep on giving you new leaves too. Let's see what this variety doesn't like. When they are growing vegetatively, they will love a lot of water and fertilizer. But when they are blooming, these spikes and their flowers will not love a lot of water. So as much as you water it, when it's blooming, make sure your watering does not touch the blooms. If water keeps falling on the blooms will fall off very quickly. You will have very low mortality in your spikes, meaning your blooms will fall off very quickly. You can see drastic differences in the two spikes you are looking at now. One is very full and the other is losing its blooms. Why is that? This spike is covered and sheltered by the leaf and the other spike is not. When a spike is covered by the top leaf, the water is repelled from getting onto the spike and the spike is saved, enhancing the lifespan of this blooming spike. This is one such big tip that I'm giving you, but if you are used to growing orchids, you already know that when we are fertilizing or watering, we do not let the water or the fertilizer fall on the spike. So make sure that your growing spike does not get stuck in the basket, the hanging or the plant. That will definitely hinder the growth process of your spike, which will give you a half-grown spike. As epiphytes, which grow in the wild, they absorb all their nutrients from the surrounding atmosphere, from rain, animal matter, animal droppings, and such. They get a lot of air movement to dry off or repel excess nutrients or ailments, which will enable the orchid to stay very healthy. Did I tell you that I made this basket on my own using bamboo or a lot of cocoa yarn? I managed to make this basket very strong and sturdy, but it's a bit wonky, I have to accept that. I have also added pieces of fern root parts, which is taken from the bird's nest fern, and I've only used 2 pieces here to retain more moisture during the times when it's very hot and we do not receive any rain. Just remember guys, new roots are what you should safeguard from slugs or snail attacks. To safeguard new root tips, the best thing you can do is to come in the night and look out for slugs or snails. They will be in grey or brown color, and if you can come out with a torch and hone in on the plant, you will see these slugs and snails hiding beneath the roots or beneath the media or in the cracks and crevices of your basket. Until you get a trained eye, you should do this every once in a while so you know your roots and your leaves are safe from these unwanted pest attacks. Rounding up, make sure you give your Vandacostylis gigantea enough filtered sun, water, air movement and fertilizer. Watch out for pests like slugs or snails. If you meet all these 5 demands, you will have a successful Vandacostylis in your hands. Once it acclimates to your surroundings, you have less to nothing to worry about. Thank you very much for watching. This is Annie signing off. Bye bye.